Chemical Reactions and Equations, Class 10th, Science. Dear students, as we all know that there are two types of changes of matter in our surrounding. Physical change, in which no new substance is formed, and a chemical change in which a new substance is formed. Whenever there is a chemical change, we can say that a chemical reaction has taken place. In this presentation, we are going to learn defining a chemical reaction, knowing the indicators of chemical reaction, identifying the components of chemical reaction, writing a chemical equation, and how to balance a chemical equation. A chemical reaction is a chemical change in which two or more substances combine to make a new substance. But how do we come to know that a chemical reaction has taken place? There are some indicators of chemical reaction. When we burn a magnesium ribbon in air, it burns with a dazzling flame and a white powder is formed. It shows that there is a change in state. Change in color is also an indicator of chemical reaction. When we add a potassium iodide solution in a lead nitrate solution in a test tube, it changes to yellow color. And when we add iron fillings in copper sulfate solution, its blue color changes to pale green. Similarly, there may be change in temperature and evolution of gas in a chemical reaction. One example is that when we take zinc granules in a flask and add dilute sulfuric acid, then hydrogen gas is evolved and the temperature increases. Formation of precipitate is also a chemical change. When the reaction occurs in liquid solution, the solid form is called precipitate. Example, silver nitrate when react with potassium chloride, silver chloride precipitates are formed. So in a chemical reaction, there may be change in state or change in color or evolution of gas, formation of precipitate or temperature change. Let us know what is chemical equation. It is a symbolic representation of a chemical reaction. Here I have written magnesium plus oxygen. It forms the magnesium oxide. This is a symbol of magnesium Mg. When it reacts with oxygen, it will form magnesium oxide. So this is a left hand side of the reaction and this is right hand side of the reaction. On left hand side of the reaction, we write the reactants. What are reactants? The substances that undergo chemical change in the reaction. And on right hand side, we write the products. The products are the new substances formed at the end of the reaction. Let us learn how to write a chemical equation. It can be written in word form or in symbol form. Say for example, here I have written magnesium plus oxygen and it forms the magnesium oxide. This arrow indicates the formation of product. And in symbol form, we can write Mg plus O2. This gives to MgO. This symbolic equation is skeletal chemical equation because it is not balanced. Here we can say that one atom of magnesium is in reactant and two atoms of oxygen in the reactant. But in the product only one atom of oxygen is seen. So this reaction is not balanced. We can say it is a skeletal chemical equation. Let us learn what is balanced chemical equation. A chemical equation is balanced so that number of atoms of each element remain same both before and after the reaction. Here we are taking an example of zinc plus sulfuric acid. When it reacts, it will form zinc sulfate and hydrogen. So I will count the number of atoms of each element both on left hand side as well as on right hand side. First I'll take zinc. On left hand side 1, on right hand side 1. Then hydrogen on left hand side 2 and on right hand side 2. Then sulfur on left hand side 1, on right hand side 1. Then oxygen on left hand side 4 and on right hand side 4. This shows that number of atoms of each element is same on left hand side as well as on right hand side. So this chemical equation is balanced. Now let us study about unbalanced chemical equation. Example, iron when react with water, it produces iron oxide and hydrogen. The equation is Fe plus H2O. This gives to Fe3O4 plus H2. Now we will count the number of atoms of each element both on left hand side and on right hand side. Here on left hand side iron is 1 atom, on right hand side iron is 3 atoms. On left hand side hydrogen 2 atoms, on right hand side hydrogen 2 atoms. On left hand side oxygen 1 atom, on right hand side oxygen 4 atoms. This shows that the number of iron atoms and oxygen atoms are not balanced. So this type of chemical equation is unbalanced chemical equation. Now we will learn balancing the chemical equation. First we will draw the boxes around each formula and do not change anything inside the boxes while balancing the equation. So we cannot change anything inside the boxes. The second step of balancing the chemical equation is listing the number of atoms of different elements present in the unbalanced equation. So we will do one by one. Iron on the left hand side is 1 and on the right hand side 3. Hydrogen on the left hand side is 2 and on right hand side is 2. Oxygen on the left hand side is 1 and on right hand side is 4. The third step of balancing the chemical equation is start balancing with a compound that contains maximum number of atoms. So here iron oxide is a compound which contains maximum number of atoms. It contains 3 iron and 4 oxygen, so 7 atoms are here. Now in this compound we will select the element which has maximum number of atoms. So here oxygen is an element which has maximum number of atoms, 4 atoms. So we will balance the number of oxygen atoms both on left hand side as well as on right hand side. So in the initial state in reactant oxygen is 1 atom and in product oxygen is 4 atoms. So to balance it we will multiply it by 4 and in product it is already 4. So we will write 4 here in the reactant. Now the reaction is partly balanced and the equation is Fe plus 4H2O, Fe3O4 plus H2. Here we have written 4H2O. Now the step 4 is balancing the hydrogen atoms in partly balanced equation. Now hydrogen in the reactant is 8 and in the product is 2. So what we will do to balance it, we will multiply it by 4. So we'll write here 4. Now hydrogen on left hand side is 8 and on right hand side is also 8. Now the equation would be Fe plus 4H2O. This will give Fe3O4 plus 4H2. Now step 5. Pick up the third element which is not balanced, and that is iron. Here iron in the reactant is 1 and in the product is 3. To balance it, we will multiply it by 3, or we'll put 3 before the box, and in product it is already 3. Finally, to check the correctness of the balanced equation, we count the number of atoms of each element on both the side of the equation. Here iron is 3 in the reactant, and in product also 3 atoms. Hydrogen 2 multiplied by 4, so 8 atoms, and hydrogen 4 multiplied by 2, 8 atoms. Oxygen 4 atoms in the reactant, and the product 4 atoms. So the balanced chemical equation is 3Fe plus 4H2O. This gives to Fe3O4 plus 4H2. The seventh step is writing the symbols of physical states. To make a chemical equation more informative, the physical states of the reactant and products are also mentioned along with their chemical formula. And for this gaseous state, we write a small letter G. For liquid state, a small letter L. For aqueous state, AQ. And for solid state, a small letter S. These are all written in the bracket. So in this equation, Fe is solid, H2O is liquid, Fe3O4 is solid, and H2 is gas. Let us take an example of balancing a chemical equation. First, we will write the chemical reaction. Here, sodium hydroxide solution react with hydrochloric solution to give sodium chloride and water. So, this is a long sentence. Now, what equation is sodium hydroxide plus hydrochloric acid? This gives to sodium chloride plus water. Now, skeletal equation is NaOH plus HCl. This gives to NaCl plus H2O. Now, we will balance the number of atoms of each element. Sodium on the left hand side is 1, on the right hand side is 1. Oxygen on the left hand side is 1 and on the right hand side is 1. Hydrogen on the left hand side is 1 plus 1, 2, and on the right hand side 2. So chlorine on the left hand side is 1 and on the right hand side is 1. So here we can see that the number of atoms of each element on the left hand side and on the right hand side are balanced. So balanced chemical equation is NaOH plus HCl, NaCl plus H2O. And with symbols we can write NaOH, it is aqueous solution, plus HCl, it is also in water. Then NaCl is a solution of salt, plus water, it is a liquid. We can summarize that while balancing a chemical equation, first we write the chemical reaction in sentence, then in word form, then skeletal equation, after that balanced chemical equation, and then with symbols of physical states. So in this presentation we have learned what is a chemical reaction, a reaction in which a chemical change occurs. Then what are the indicators of chemical reaction? Change in color, change in temperature, change in state, formation of precipitate or evolution of gas. Then what is a chemical equation? A symbolic representation of chemical reaction. Then what are the components of chemical equation? Reactants and products. Reactants are written on the left hand side with plus sign and products on the right hand side with plus sign. Then how to write a chemical equation and how to balance a chemical equation. Now in our next session, we will learn different types of chemical reactions.